Hi, my name's Colin McMahon. 9 years ago, I fulfilled a lifelong dream and opened my comic book store, Pittsburgh Comics. Since then, it's been great. I've met lots of great people, I've read lots of great books, and I want to share that with you. Welcome to Comics Now. Hey everybody, welcome to Comics Now for March 2017, and it's spring! Well, we didn't really have much of a winter this year, but spring is always a fun time. It's when things start getting going. It's when I have to start preparing for Free Comic Book Day, which is coming up on Saturday, May 6th, the first Saturday in May. And I have to start planning and thinking, and it's a little scary that it's only 60 days away. So I've already ordered all the books, but now I got to start planning all the other extras and fun stuff like that. Another thing that we did at the store, last month, at the end of the month, we did our first book club in a long time. I had done one years and years and years ago, but I decided to fire it back up, and we did The Valiant from Valiant Comics, and we had a great turnout, more than I ever expected. I think there were 14 or 15 people here, which is great. The reason the last one ended was the last two, it was me and one other person, which is fun and all, but don't really need to have a big event for that. So I was really happy with the turnout. I think it was a lot of great discussion. I think everybody had a really good time. This month we're doing Six Gun Gorilla. That's one that I've been talking about for a couple of years. I really, really enjoyed it, and decided to make that the next one since people really liked the first one we did. I knew it was a book that I really enjoyed. So we'll keep it going hopefully all year. We're going to keep doing it the last Friday of the month. So this month it ends up on the March 31st on the last Friday. So if you want to come on down. The books, I'm giving 25% off of Six Gun Gorilla to anybody that wants it for book club. I sold out, but I will have more in quickly. The response on that was great, so I'm expecting a big turnout for this one too. So please come down and join us. It's a lot of fun. And then there's a lot going on in March, comic book wise. A lot of events are wrapping up and a lot of new things are starting. But I want to get to one thing that I did in February, is I went to the Comics Pro annual meeting. It was down in Memphis, Tennessee this year. And there wasn't a whole lot of big announcements. It was a lot of more just industry kind of talking, what's working, what isn't working, things like that. But there was one really neat announcement that no one was really prepared for. And even the people in charge weren't prepared to make the announcement. Well, we kind of forced their hand. Karen Berger was given the Comics Pro Industry award for, they do two awards, one for someone who has passed and one for someone who is still alive. And Karen Berger won the alive one. Darwin Cook was given the one for someone who had passed. And so she knew she was going to be at the meeting to receive it, or she wanted to be at the meeting to receive it. And she had a big announcement to make, and they kind of moved the paperwork ahead a little bit. And she is going to be doing her own line of books at Dark Horse Comics, and they're going to be called Berger Books. So who's Karen Berger? Well, Karen Berger had a huge effect on this store. I read comics growing up, and then once I graduated college, I kind of had no money. Didn't have, well, I had time, I had plenty of time, but there was no money. I kind of fell out of comics and wasn't really reading them. Then after a while, got a job, things worked out, started getting back into comics, and one of the things that really got me back in was Vertigo. Sandman and Hellblazer and Swamp Thing and books like that. Well, Karen Berger basically created Vertigo. When she came into DC Comics, she had a little different viewpoint. She wasn't a big comic book fan. She had an art degree and came at it with a different viewpoint and wanted to read comics that she wanted to read, and she was a grown-up. So Vertigo was a little more grown-up, and she started books. She brought in a lot of British writers, people who hadn't really been heard of, and let them kind of run wild and take their ideas where they wanted to go. So that then led into Vertigo. She left DC when they moved to California. She didn't want to make the move, so she left Vertigo at that point and has kind of been out of comics for a while. She did edit one book called Surgeon X at Image, and I guess that was kind of the impetus for her to get back into it. So now she's going to be doing a new line of books. Like I said, they're called Berger Books, which is, I guess, what they were called internally at DC at the time. And so that's great because Image has really taken over for Vertigo, more so because of the creator-owned aspect. Vertigo has always had a very unique vision, unique ideas, unique books, but it's always been owned by DC. So even though the creators come in there and create these really neat things, DC still owns the property. Creators started going to Image to publish these neat ideas because they retain control of the books. So Vertigo is kind of, I don't want to say it's been in decline, but there's not much coming out from them right now. I think there's one new one coming out in March. And a lot of their mainstays like Fables have kind of ended. So, but the problem they have at Image is they don't have a lot of editorial control. Pretty much it's just the creators coming out with the books when they come out. And I think sometimes a lot of creators still need that little guiding hand and that little person saying, hey, this is due, things like that. So I think that's going to be one big benefit over at Dark Horse, where she can still go out and get those new voices, get those new creators, get those neat stories, but also kind of be a little bit in charge, just nudging people in the right direction and things like that. As a side note, this past weekend at Emerald City Comic Con, Shelley Bond, who was Karen Berger's top assistant for many, many years at Vertigo, has joined IDW with her line of books called Black Crown. So I'm assuming, haven't read a whole lot about it, but I have a feeling it's going to be a similar type thing. So it's really neat. Time for comics. There is a lot of really great stuff out there, but I think a lot of it is getting lost. A lot of it is kind of falling by the wayside when it doesn't ship on time. There's a little thing now called the Image gap or delay, where books take a break for a couple months and then come back, and sadly on some of these books the gap and the delay is getting bigger and bigger. So it'd be nice to see some more of these books come out, some more of these neat ideas and things with a little hand kind of guiding and steering the ship. So I think it's going to be great for the business. It's going to be great for comics with these two very strong ladies, very influential ladies doing their own lines at different companies. So that being said, what's coming out in March? Well, first at the store, we're doing double points on everything Wolverine related because of the Logan movie. It's been huge. It had a huge first weekend. So double points, everything Wolverine. And since my Wolverine shelf isn't the biggest, we're going to expand that to everything X-Men related as well. So come on down, get Old Man Logan, which the movie is thematically based off of, kind of the idea of an older Logan. Get some X-23 things, because you don't know it yet, but she's really the breakout star of the movie. So lots of stuff here, and just lots of general X-Men books. So, sticking with Marvel, since we're already talking about Marvel, several events are ending for Marvel. Monsters Unleashed comes to an end in March, as does Inhumans vs. X-Men. And the Inhumans vs. X-Men is going to have big effect on both worlds in that regard. We have X-Men Prime is coming out, spinning out of it. It's setting the stage for where X-Men are going for the near future. Kitty Pryde returns to the X-Men, ready to lead them on a mission to protect a world that hates and fears them. And then on the other side, you have an Inhumans Prime issue coming out, and that in the wake of the end of Inhumans vs. X-Men, there's a trial of Maximus, Marvel Boy returns, and then what is Black Bolt's deep, dark secret. So we'll find these things out, both of which leading to new books coming in April in both the X-Men line and the Inhumans line. There's a new Netflix show. Netflix has really been killing it with their Marvel shows, and Iron Fist is coming out in the middle of March. So of course Marvel's jumping on, and with a new Iron Fist #1 coming from Ed Brisson and Mike Perkins. So it's going to be continuing on the Iron Fist story. Some new books are coming. America #1 featuring America Chavez. And she has been in Young Avengers, she's currently in Ultimates, and now she's breaking out into her own book. So this one has lots of great write-ups on it. We also have Man-Thing #1. This is coming from R.L. Stine of Goosebumps fame. So you probably read him as a kid. Now let's see what he can do with a comic. Another big event, Amazing Spider-Man #25. This is a big 88-page giant issue with lots of story in it that's leading to the changes and the new future of what's going to be happening with Peter Parker. Also, Venom #5 is promising the return of a shocking character that you've been missing. So we'll see what happens there. DC, not a bunch of new stuff, but a lot of great stories. We're having the Superman Reborn story arc is coming. 4 issues going through the 2 issues of Superman and the 2 issues of Action Comics. And it's going to explain what the story is with this Superman, since he's not the regular Superman. Also, there's a mysterious second Clark Kent out there. What's his story? And also, who is Mr. Oz? And hopefully a lot of these questions will be answered in this 4-parter. Also, Batwoman #1 is coming. The Rebirth issue was really good, setting up who Batwoman is and everything, and now her story is going to be starting. Because it's a 5 Wednesday month, DC pretty much has a 4-week schedule when they know their books are going to be coming out. First week Batman, second week Detective, third week Batman, fourth week Detective, but then we get a 5th week. And what do we have there? Typically they do annuals. So what they've done, we do have some annuals coming out this month, but they've decided to also have a little bit of fun. And the Hanna-Barbera line has done very, very well for me. Future Quest, Scooby Apocalypse, the Flintstones, Wacky Wasteland. So they're kind of tapping into those books and kind of bringing them a little bit, just crossing them over with the DC Universe just for some fun. So we're going to have an Adam Strange Future Quest team up where Adam Strange shows up in the Future Quest world and has to help save them. And then there's going to be a backup feature featuring Top Cat and Batman. Booster Gold is time traveling to the Flintstones. So that should be fun, and that has a Jetsons backup. Green Lantern is teaming up with Space Ghost, and that has a Rough and Ready backup. And then the one I'm most excited about is a Suicide Squad Banana Splits team up. And good luck keeping that song out of your head. And that has a Snagglepuss backup written by Mark Russell, who's done the Flintstones and Prez. So I'm very much looking forward to this. I think Snagglepuss has already been announced to getting his own book coming out in the future. Vertigo has a new one called Savage Things. This is by Justin Jordan, who's a local guy. I think he lives in Mechanicsburg. And it's basically the story of 25 years ago, these kids were kidnapped and created into like chaos agents for the government to go in and kill foreign dictators and things like that. And then when they got out of hand, they had them all eliminated. Well, apparently it didn't take, and 25 years later now in the present, these kids are back ready to wreak chaos and revenge on the people who did them wrong. So good, Vertigo, so it's going to be a little dark and gritty and ugly. So it should be good. Image has a neat one coming out. Royal City #1. This is Jeff Lemire's first solo run book since he did Sweet Tooth, where he's writing and drawing it. And he said in the little afterwards to the first issue, it talks about how he's been working on this for 18 months. And it's the story of a family and basically just their loves, their loss, changes in this small town, but just very heartfelt. If you ever read Sweet Tooth or if you ever read Essex County, he knows how to really tell a really powerful story. So hopefully this is going to be a real good one. Extremity #1 is a big one from Image. They made a big splash with it. And basically, Thea's parents were killed, and she now is seeking out revenge against the people that killed them. And it's a revenge featuring vicious battles between man, machines, and monsters. So it's going to be a big blow 'em, smash 'em up good kind of book. Rat Queens is back. Rat Queens had a little trouble with artists. First artist got in a little bit of trouble. Second artist kind of flaked on the writer, so he decided, hey, let's wrap this up and we'll start it all over with a new artist and a new #1. So that's coming out. Underwinter is a new series from Ray Fawkes, who's done a bunch of little things recently. And it's going to be a new horror series, and it looks like it's going to be different stories every month. Magdalena #1. This is an old Image character. Hero who has the blood of Jesus and Mary Magdalene in her, fighting evil demons. Think Tank is back with a new volume, basically about really smart people helping save the world. Copperhead is returning after one of their longer Image breaks, as is Injection from Warren Ellis and Declan Shalvey. So lots of good stuff coming from Image. Dark Horse is coming out with the American Gods Shadows #1, which is an adaptation of the American Gods book by Neil Gaiman, which is going to be a Starz TV show. And reading an interview with Gaiman, he says the book, yes, it's an adaptation, but it's also going to the series is going to go beyond the book and bring out some new stuff. So that's good. So I hate when I've read the book and then I start reading the adaptation going, I kind of already read this. So it's nice to know that this one is going to go beyond the book and get into newer things. There's a new Hellboy and BPRD book coming, 1954 Ghost Moon. Lobster Johnson has a new series of Pirates Ghost, and Rebels by Brian Wood is returning with the story of the Revolutionary War. They also have a new one called Once and Future Queen, which is a 19-year-old chess prodigy wanders in and pulls Excalibur out of the stone and is suddenly now the Queen of England. So, IDW, their theme this month is Deviation, which is a lot of what ifs. They've done this before and they're doing it again, where there's alternate realities. What if something else had happened? and taking place in the world of Star Wars, Orphan Black, X-Files, My Little Pony, and Judge Dredd. Also a new Ghostbusters series, Ghostbusters 101, where the original Ghostbusters meet the Lady Ghostbusters from the last movie. So they're incorporating them into the comics. Archie Comics, if you haven't been watching it, Riverdale is a really fun show. Kind of very CW, high school romancy with a little, I don't want to say X-Files, but there's a murder and there's lots of intrigue and stuff going on, but it's all characters you're familiar with, which has been fun. So they have a new one-shot, basically tying into the TV Riverdale universe. And then they're also coming out with a bunch of other one-shots this month. We're getting a Jughead the Hunger, where Jughead's a werewolf. We're getting a Little Archie and a Sabrina one-shot. Black Mask is coming back with Space Riders Volume 2. The first one did really well, just kind of a completely whacked out outer space story. Black Box Comics. Now this is a new one. This is called IT, The Secret World of Modern Banking, with espionage and stuff regarding in the banking world and how the computer programmers are really controlling that. And this is by Scott McDaniel, who is another Pittsburgh native, and he's writing and drawing this. So, if you want to support local, come on down. Boom has some interesting ones. Grass Kings. This is from Matt Kint, who has done a ton of stuff lately. He's doing Department H and Mind Management wrapped up over at Dark Horse. He's doing a ton of the Valiant stuff. And this is another one from him. It's with Tyler Jenkins, who does really beautiful watercolors. And it's about, it's a rural mystery chronicling the tragic lives of the Grass Kings, which are three brothers that rule a trailer park. So, could be really good. Matt Kint has a good track record. Cody and the Creepies. This is by Liz Prince, who is also writing Clarence and some other books. And it's a story about a band who had a real bad van accident, lots of injuries, and now they're back, and they've decided to return to their punk roots. And they also have a neat one called Brave Chef Brianna, which is a chef has a bunch of sons and one daughter, and he puts them in a competition to see who can take over for his empire. And Brianna is the only daughter, and she has a little rough go of it because at her restaurant, her best and only customers are monsters. So she has to figure out how to create something that'll impress her dad while also appeasing her monster customers. Dynamite has a new #1 James Bond coming. James Bond has been really big, and this is going to be their 4th James Bond book. This is by Benjamin Percy, who has been doing a great job on Green Arrow. They have a new Charmed book coming based on the TV show. There's a new Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys book. So if you grew up reading the Hardy Boys like I did, I'm intrigued and looking forward to this one. Vampirella has a new #1, and there's also a new Doc Savage, Man of Bronze. Ring of Fire #1 is coming out. Oni has an interesting one, Redline. Science fiction. In the not too distant future, we've colonized Mars, and all of a sudden there's an explosion. And well, was it the Martians fighting back, or was it someone within the human world trying to create problems? Titan has a new one called Anno Dracula, which is based on a bunch of novels. The basic premise is, what if the people from Bram Stoker's Dracula did not succeed in killing Dracula, and Dracula survived and grew, and now vampires have become part of British society and just living amongst the humans. They also have another called Supermansion, which is based on a cartoon that's done by the people who did Robot Chicken. So I haven't watched it, but everything I saw about it looks a lot of fun. They also have a book called Skydoll Sutra, which is continuing the Skydoll book that Marvel reprinted a while back. I think it's a French book about robots, very, very sci-fi, very futuristic. And then just to wrap up, Valiant is kicking off their Exo Man of War #1 line. They've put a ton of promotion behind this. They're very excited about it. And the basic idea behind Exo Man of War is he was, back in the, I don't even know how long ago, like the 800s. All of a sudden, just a regular person, living off the soil and everything, and all of a sudden this suit of armor comes down and he becomes Exo Man of War. And then the current stories took place in current times where he's existed all this time. Well, at the end of the series, now he's gone off. He's living on a far distant planet. He's not using the armor. He's just returned to his way of life. It's a primitive planet. He's working the earth, just has a nice life. Aliens invade, and now he has to return to the armor. He has to put it back on to save this new life that he's created for himself. So that's where this one's going. So That's all I have. That's what's going on in March. If you have any questions, please, you can get a hold of me here at the store. The website's pittsburghcomics.com, Facebook under Pittsburgh Comics, and Twitter at PGH Comics. If you have any questions, you want to talk to me about anything you want to see me talk about, please let me know. Come on down. Lots of great books coming out. We're doing lots of events and things here at the store. So keep track of what's going on here. And stay tuned and join us for Comics Previews Theater. Thanks again for watching.
Time answers. Space questions. Matter questions. Energy answers. All of space is waiting to be filled. To be watched. No!
You couldn't keep us all. Someone got out. You hear me? Someone got out.
Careful, it's still hot, Lo.
I don't know what's more irresistible. Pineapple upside down cake or watching my man bake it for me.
For us, dear.
Happy anniversary, Mom and Dad.
Ooh, presents. How exciting. Thank you, John.
It's a new leather writing notebook. Read the inscription.
Mom's adventure journal. This could come in handy around here.
Yeah, something to remember your new adventures. I figure you could start with the Eradicator and how we...
Having you will always be my greatest adventure, John.
For me, kiddo, the Farmer's Almanac. Your grandpa would have agreed I need all the help I can get.
I know you can see super far already, but this will help you see into the future for farming and stuff.
When I think of the future, I only see you, kiddo.
Now remember, dear, no freeze breath surprises like last year.
Okay. I'll be good, hun. Come here, son. You're part of the team, too. All together now.
Happy anniversary! A new sweater? Clark, we agreed no gifts.
You agreed.
It's lovely. You spoil me, Mr. Smith.
We've been blessed these past months to have found everything we need right here in Hamilton.
With guests stopping by and everything, by the sounds of it.
I'll get it. Hello? Hey, mister, did you leave this? Here?
Who is it, John? It's me, boy. Good. Always be ready for...
Clark, what's wrong?
The other one. He's here.
Here? But how did he find us?
That will be my first question.